Anje Chedan Zojin Jonala Shanja Bada Dama Jati Nage Chiche Jebe Sonanje Lola Benja Sanje Rabachu Anje Chedan Zojin Jonala Shanja Bada Dama Jati Nage Chiche Jebe Sonanje Lola Benja Sanje Rabachu Sanje Chedan Zojin Jonala Shanja Bada Dama Jati Nage Chiche Jebe Sonanje Lola Benja Sanje Rabachu Okay, good evening again. Maybe I'm making you guys also. Which is okay. What to call? Okay. Okay. Anyway, it's we're very lucky. And whether it's cold, we can put the heat. Whether the hot, we can put AC. No. Even though we can imagine we're now in Boston, show a lot of homeless people. They don't have AC. They don't have place to go very cold. They don't get to eat what they want. And when we compare that, we say, oh, I'm very lucky. Sometimes, we don't feel, we don't awareness, what do we have? Or sometimes we can remember or recognize that kind of things, good for our, how we great for our life. That we always just complain, that. We never finish a complaint until we maybe this bodhicitta. I think when we get the bodhicitta, maybe it's very calm our mind. Therefore, always I say Buddhism is a religion, but it's not only beyond faith. I'm not other religions beyond faith, but always some reasons, we can some purpose. Therefore, the main things how to take care of our mind. It's very difficult when our mind was already destroyed. It's very hard to fix back to that. But before that, basically we say, okay, it'd be possible happen. It'd be possible. If it's something difficult things for others, we say, oh, maybe possible. I have been wondering that kind of situation. Maybe think about that a little bit. Yeah. Therefore, when we have also study about qualities, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, let's make education for the quality Buddha, benefit us, Dharma, the kindness of Sangha, and we more trust or faith that if you trust or we more faith for them, and we do the more serious, follow their advice. It's like example, you have very strong trust or faith in the doctors, right? What the doctors say for our, daily or how to taking care of our body, you really follow that. Therefore, it takes serious that then we keep our body also more healthy. Because a lot of disease also, what we get is our own actions. especially the food. Then we cannot eat too much, we not eat too little. We need all the luck. It's a balance also. Therefore, if we follow like that way, then we can more keep the healthy body. Therefore, we always say, in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, I take refuge into enlighten, right? Therefore, who's the Buddha? What's the Dharma? What's Sangha? The Buddha is the real, that will be Buddha is the Buddha teaching us to Buddha. Dharma. Dharma is the real refuge. Real Dharma is like our three jewels. Something.
Trainings.
Three trainings. Three trainings. That's very important. It's our training our body and mind is morality. Of course, if you keep the morality, it's not morality means you're monk or nun. Keep your body, speech, mind, all the faults, and keep our mind more stable. In order to do that, also why we have to keep understand the wisdom, like that kind of practice, very important to daily life. Then we're now getting better and better. It's not one day we become better, but it takes time. But I always say, not looking for the result very quickly, but not stop. Slowly, slowly. A lot of people, as we need to really see the result very quickly, and we don't really see it, then we say, give up. Oh, I'm too tired. It's not like that. Switch on, off, not like that. Okay. Therefore, we just sometimes to rejoice for our daily life. You are doing happy today, and thank you for Buddha. Thank you for the Sangha. Thank you for the Dharma. I do more better. Like that, okay? It's usually based thinking, then Akasanado Kawango to all right. You change this later. I think all Pachakalan never. Order. Nam Debano Sotango de Shujitun Manuja Rapataka Kele. Nam Dembatna Zotango, the Rapa mind, the Rapatna should attend the Turkish. Agitation.
So I think we're still on the object of certain mode of object, right? Mode of observing objects.
You can't.
There you're talking about the true expectorant and the false expectorant, right? And at the bottom of that page, I think it talks about the 5 sense objects, form, etc., arise from the substance of the inner consciousness, independence and upon the propensities of the common and uncommon action based on the mind basis of all, and they do not exist as external objects. And the true expectors in turn assert that the 5 sense objects, form, etc., are not external objects, but do exist as gross objects.
They got it up and I was so tell over the Kujunachi tenders. Tumo the Tumo Pacha, Jabala Teni. She be taken Java in the Shrit and the mind mission said. And then she sent them to Tumo that's a chingo. They got the Javina Maya.
So this is the uncommon the assertion of the mind only school, where it talks about the inner consciousness, the arise from the substance of inner consciousness, arise, the 5 sense objects, the form, etc., arise arise from the substance of the inner consciousness, independent upon the propensities of common and uncommon actions placed on the mind basis of all, and they do not exist as external objects.
그래서 벌써 바쁘게 저거에 있어서 토모와데 토모와데 아주 참매기 네 신득을 내렸더니 접하세요. 아주 주소인데 강반데 아주 주소게 저 참매기 신득을 내렸더니 내지 빠져서 버렸는데 좀 되죠.
Last time you also asked about the common and uncommon actions, or the properties that we utilize. Like this center is the common, is the result of the common actions of the members of the people who are using this center.
그래서 참매기 빠져 내지 빠져서 버렸더니 되죠. 다 디나야. So tomorrow my baby that vegetarian that they part to chicken and no symptom.
So everyone of us who have who use this center together, have the karma, have created a karma and left the propensity or the imprint of that karma in our consciousness. So when that happens, then we're able to use it. But there's uncommon, which is only used or experienced by oneself alone.
아니 다 남 댐바나 남자 막아서 이나 치샤요. 안지가 이제 주다 들어져도 안에 싫어지 된다. 마트가 나잖아. 라파트가 캐네. 싫어지 또 마트가 가야 라파트가 캐네 그래서.
Then there's a difference of the true expectorian and the false expectorians, right? So the true expectorian assert that the five sense objects, form, etc., are not external objects, but do exist as gross objects. And then the false expectorian assert that the five sense objects, form, etc., are not gross objects, because if they did exist as gross objects, they would necessarily exist as external objects.
그러니까 샘좀 남 댐바는 뭐 지금 안에서 된 거는 나와대 머리 받쳐내 봐 슈바래. 지금 슈 말려고 와서.
Then, so I don't know if this is the true expectorian or the false expectorian. I would say when the form, etc., appear to the mind, it is it is polluted by ignorance and so forth, right?
되는 거래요. 됐다. 네. 권인 생기셔가 와 남대마다 남대만이. 나 천도지 소라파 나와대 머리 빠졌지. 아빠 마주 버렸어. 소라파 나와 가 나와대 머리 빠져 레버 쉬고 말했어. 대 나와대 쪽거리 했어야 돼. 근데 때가 다 다용돼 그래. 권생이 됐으면 남대미가 되니다.
Where it talks about the definition of the expectorian, true expectorian, and false expectorian. 어디
간트보다 생기더라. 나도 좀 같이 간트.
네, 어디.
남대박은 생기다. 남대박은 생기 와서. 아직 남대박이가 안에 소통하고 돼 봐. 나와대 말아 봐지 레바 쉬고 말이 가나와도 쪽그래스. 남대박가 안에 될 말이 봐지 레바 쉬바레스.
In the definition of the true expectorian Chidamatri, it says the Chidamatri who assert that a part of the appearance that appears as a gross form to a form apprehending direct perceiver is an ordinary being in an ordinary being's continuum is not polluted by the propensities of ignorance. So that's the true expectorian. The false expectorian says the beings in the continuum is polluted by the propensities of ignorance.
간단히 얘기는 아니 라바트 말을 해야 돼. 간지 첨부터 말을 만좀 통해 얘기 차려도 되셔야고 말. 이 첨부 라바 만도 통하여 와래요. 잡아 될라고 생각하지.
Growth, means something that we can see easily, without the needs of the other gadgets. So just something that we can see and touch, that kind of things are the growth objects. And so the true expectorian is saying that even if they can exist as a gross object, but they don't have to exist externally.
남 즘바인데 때 라바 때 트와이 말에 대 첨부 트와이나 는 쇼트에 톡고 좀 그래서.
The fourth expectancy is saying that if it's exists as a gross object, then it has to be external object.
근데 대가 라바 트다데 고발에다 가잖아. 자서 말.
So the way it is asserted and the way it is asserted as a gross object is different between the true expectorian and the false expectorian.
남 즘바가 라바 트세야지 근데 나 시발 맞는데 이 코너가 뭐지 트바이나 어디라 라바 트세 대트야 말이지.
If it exists as a gross object, then it has to exist, from the externally without depending on the internal mind. That's the assertion of the false expectorian.
아니 남 덴바가 대주고 말아 간지 시발 바작 시비 바작 세발드네 쇼마다 요 그런 거네 접거리스.
And then the true expectorian is saying no, it's not necessary to be like that. It exists, from the side of the object as a gross object from its own side, but also, it is it depends on the internal mind as well.
간다라 투데가 간다 남 덴바나 남 덴베가 생기갑 가셔봐다 대 이렇게 아니 양조 잡는 거래.
What I'm talking is just kind of repeating whatever the definition of the true expectorian and the false expectorian is given in the text here.
항아와 이치인데 다내 담모만 봤다 내 시험에 담모 샘점에 담모만 봐.
And now the fifth is the fifth topic is the mode of asserting object possession. So this is the uncommon assertion of the mind-only school.
남 덴바는 남지 토제데 켈레 데스.
And so here is the true expectorian assert a group of 8 consciousnesses.
내 담모만 봤다. 샘도 남 덴베 켈레 말이다 남지 샘sambe 켈레게 레세. 남초고 싶다. 남 zembe 켈레 말다 말날 샘tembe 켈레게 레세 남지 되네 라버스.
So this is what is asserted by the true expectorian Siddhamatra school. But because it is expected, this is because it's asserted by the true expectorian school. Therefore, you can say the mind-only schools asserts that, even though the false expectorian doesn't assert that.
켈레도 남지 초제데 가나 나 전담와 현재 켈레면 남지 초주게 된다. 그지 남지다 예예. 남지 냄비 남지 초게 된데스.
And so, yes, is the true expectorian assert the group of constants, the mind basis of all, and the afflicted mind are added to the 6 consciousness asserted by other opponents of the tenets.
그지 나시니 다 그지 남지다 예진 태지요 데스. 남지 초 주래 대지자랑 그 다지 온발람 밑에 남지 당보당하세. 아데 그지 나시다 이래서와.
Then the example of both mind basis of all and afflicted minds are, this is the mind basis of all is the first consciousness that is other than the group of 6 consciousnesses and does not depend on the power as it is empowering condition. So that's the kind of definition or meaning of the mind basis of all.
아니 예세데 아니 딘데가 무바 꾸지들라 메네 남바라자티베 제테 나르티베 남시테 진도 땡이 바레스.
Then the afflicted mind, is a second consciousness that refers to, it is the referent, the mind basis of all. The referent, is referent to the mind basis of all, and apprehends its aspect as self-supporting or substantially existing.
디고 꾸시나비데 다데 렌데 레 카본 아폴렌데 참에 게데 참에고 네 아샤샤사가 다 강사세데 다 딘도 그레스.
And and so that mind basis of all is asserted as a basis upon which all the propensities of the good and bad actions are placed, and that is also asserted as the person.
아가도 그나 그러고 저와도 지선에 그 가진에 된다고 이래서 와이나라. 샘좀 가진에 쿠시다 인도 그래. 남지 투투가 가진에 맞췄나.
And then we may ask a question: why do mind-only school assert 8 groups of consciousnesses? Why not only the 6 groups of consciousness, just like other opponents of the tenets?
남시 저 주대 두드려봐만도 마치 이식 두드려봐 남주 참면도 같이
You know the six group of consciousnesses, right? Five sense and then one mental.
진짜 그는 저 템포에 말했어. 그 딱봐 요 말은 삼선배는 민유 교환을 왔다. 아니 자도 왔다. 아니 텐데칼라 아니 저 내가 자도 버릴 텐데 나 이거 말했어.
They are saying that those are not stable. Now, those are not stable. You know, they appear sometime, but then they disappear other time. Like when you go to sleep, many of the six consciousnesses, they kind of disappear or become inactive, and or yeah, like when you faint, and also some of the consciousnesses doesn't work. So therefore, they are not stable, and therefore we need something that is active and stable all the time.
아니 제왕 한만에 내용 전에 심하로 가지 로 템보식 시바 템보식 가디는 게 최대기지고 그래서 그들이라고.
So they say that there has to be these consciousnesses, like the five sense consciousness, are based on the five sense organs that we have in this life, right? So it doesn't have that connection, with the consciousness, that come from the past life to this life, from this life to the next life. So they're saying that there has to be kind of this one consciousness that's stable.
와, 다 들리지 가지고는 다 들리 변하고, 왕봉하고 강하게 강을 맞대기 들이. 왕신의 이시 가야 많은 게 싶어시.
And so it has to be a consciousness that is neither sense consciousness nor mental consciousness, and a consciousness that doesn't depend on any of these six consciousnesses.
와, 다 들리 체질로 시작할 거. 밑바 가려면 무슨 나 그러고 그 밑바 코로나가 되는 거 말하다 그 밑발 앞에 나가는 왕봉아 야만나 왕봉아 이요 가려면 밑발로 가서나 왕봉아 야만나 왕봉아 이요 연구 싶어라는 그대가 받아서고 하다 들으려면 밑바 이거 그래서
the object, object of that mind has to be this five sense consciousness. Yeah, so the five sense consciousness itself is not the mind base of all, but its object has to be mind, the five sense consciousness. So because the five sense consciousness are the one that creates the karma, right? And then whatever karma that they create, the imprint of that karma has to be placed somewhere. It's focusing on that, right? It's referring or focusing on that object, the mind-based, the five sense consciousness. Was number the but the aspect of this mind base of all should be inattentive. So it appears, but it's it's not ascertained.
And then
the entity of it has to be a basis to hold all the imprints of the positive and negative actions.
And then and
then a company has to be only the five omnipresent mental factors, and should not have any company of any other consciousness. And so there has to be this kind of a stable consciousness that is not depending on any of these, and that's something that goes from life to life. And so then what is the afflicted, right? The afflicted mind is based on the mind basis of all. It has to be a mind that grasps at self-supporting or substantial existence.
number the tell me the Rajate Nago, Bashik, Panjaris.
And so, so the afflicted mind, is referring to the mind basis of all, and thinking of that as being a self-supporting or substantial existence.
More the Maribata and the Danta, Kaji, and it all today.
That's the aspect, and then the nature or the entity, of that mind, or that afflicted mind, has to be similar, with the delusions like ignorance and so forth.
And then court the same to control lots of the Takom,
and then the accompanying mind, to that prayer mind has to be also 5 omnipresent mental factors and many other delusions.
Okay. What that Tenrigo, Kuja said the yes, at the Shibatami Pasha Shadachi. Kuja said the Kuja said the Shibatami game and Pasha Shadachi. Yes, I did tell him then Kushalamina and then now owns the Miloshka.
Well, the mind basis of all is the mind that holds all the imprints, the propensities or the imprints of the positive and negative karmas. And the afflicted mind is the mind that refers to the mind basis of all, or mind basis of all, and think of that as being self-supporting and substantial existence.
That it be the Ochi. Tatania, Dajuma top, Tajabatuna, and then yet the Pando, Ye Bandia, Kujita Moshan.
And then it says that, like when you achieve the 8th ground, the afflicted mind will be abandoned, right? When the afflicted mind is abandoned, then the mind basis of all will also disappear.
And then I take Pachadoji, and the Karo Lembic Kushtaji. Kutani user, Anthony, take Pachadoji user. They are Sanchez and Rogers. Lembi Pacha. Lembic. The color. Vegetable landed. But to me, to me, I'm maybe not she says.
And so then, so that then it's that kind of disappears, but then it changes into, it's called the stainless consciousness. So, when you have purified those afflicted mind, then that changes into stainless consciousness. Then with that, there'll be like the 9 group of consciousness that some of the mind only school asserts.
But
they are all related, right? So these 3 additional mind that is asserted by the mind only school is all related. So one comes from the other one, and then when those get purified, then it becomes the stainless consciousness.
And then go to Kajin Kushiduna, which is at this Shiba Shamba Tembo, which is at the pet Tembo. Or Tilicata Lente, Pasha the Google race.
So the reason why mind only school asserts the additional consciousness, such as the mind basis of all, is because the other minds are not stable. There has to be a stable mind which can hold all these propensities, of the actions. And therefore, they assert that there has to be this mind stable all the time, which is called the mind basis of all.
That's called
It's neither sense consciousness nor mental consciousness.
That is the that is called a pen, that Nicola pen, the shade, so what a mobile that I'm not so sure what it is.
That's the kind of mind that neither of those 2, but it's the mind. It's neither mental consciousness nor sense consciousness, but it's the consciousness. And of course, there's a lot of debates about that. But roughly talking about it, this is what it is. Itself is neither virtuous nor not virtuous, so it is neutral.
Tell me, yes, I did any thought down to the country down.
And of course, the afflicted mind, is grasping at the self, right, as being self-supporting or substantially existing.
But the question said that Kadina Kongan Chichiva Gores, Nikuna Sana Tona, Mapa, but the judgment of the Chichiva Gores.
So the mind basis all has to be there all the time, manifesting. It has to be manifesting all the time, and until when achieved, instead of arhat, when the word will be abandoned.
Yes, I think Kadina get Jago Mare.
So
judgment ye Pando, ye Bond Kushimo Charo. Kushimo Kaji, Kuran Sunday, I just will go about the dish other than the imagine of state of shadow.
And so, the mind basis of all is all the time there, manifest. It has to be manifesting all the time. But the afflicted mind doesn't have to be manifesting all the time. And when the afflicted mind, gets abandoned, then the mind basis of all will also disappear. Because then there would be no longer needed, to hold the propensity. So there's no more karma created. So there's no need, for the imprints of the karma to be held anywhere. The mind basis of all will also just disappear.
Give a pacha shana than the Timidi pacha say, Timidi Napshi,
and how so there's no negative mind, right, anymore. And if there is a positive imprints to be left, and it will be left on the standard consciousness.
The Quran to the image. That is. Nam Zamba and Namji so true, cushion there may one patch. Namji so true the jail, legit the JB Kazak, the Ijinapi and Jogores.
And then so the true false aspectorian only exerts 6 consciousnesses as others, and so does not exert the mind basis of all and so forth, and therefore it says the mental consciousness is the first.
Okay. Oh yeah. Any questions? Yes.
Make sure did you say, Geshe, that the mind basis of all is necessarily an awareness to which an object appears but is not ascertained, and also the only concomitants are the 5 omnipresent?
So the question number the because of the non-manga awareness, non-manga in the as a code of you yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's you want to read.
Okay, you got it all now?
And the call up a chopper, Lelo, the Hakwet and Mare. The Shetland of Mobot. Da, Teota Lola Tamana to Ta, and to Kansa Jewels among Artima, the Dutchemata, and the Kansa left away Machi. And the Lola, and the Tamata Timmy Loni, Sai Kama Chibarwa.